I used to think you could fix someone by pushing them harder. Like, if you just trained them enough, drilled them enough, expected enough, they'd become who you needed them to be. And then I met Celine, and that entire belief system crumbled like a demon seal under a pop stage spotlight. Because what if love, when mixed with fear and legacy and shame, stops being protective and starts becoming corrosive? Here's what breaks my brain about Celine and K-pop demon hunters. She's a mentor, a mother, a badass pop star turned demon slayer. And still, her greatest act of destruction isn't with a sword or a song, but with the way she taught Rumi to hate herself. She's not the villain, but she's also not the hero. She's the mirror, the wound, the legacy. And that's when I realized the danger isn't abandonment. It's the kind of love that edits you into a better draft instead of reading the messy original. Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm your fast-talking, overthinking narrator of animated trauma and metaphorical demon slang. If you like character studies with a little myth, a little psychology, and a lot of emotional damage, smash that subscribe button like you're sealing the Hanmoon. Let's go! So, Celine. She trains Rumi, she raises Rumi, she ruins Rumi. But also, she loves her. That's the paradox. That's the trap. That's the story. Let me paint you a picture. You're raised by a woman whose entire mission is defeating demons. You have literal demon marks on your body, and every time she looks at them, she flinches. Not overtly, not cruelly, but enough. And what does that teach you? That love is conditional, that safety comes at the price of hiding, that your own body is the battlefield. Here's what gets me about Celine. She's not trying to hurt Rumi. She's trying to save her. From the world, from herself, from the thing Celine fears most, the tiniest echo of a demon inside the girl she promised to protect. There's this line from Toni Morrison that definitions belong to the definers, not the defined. Celine defines Rumi's demon side as curse, shame, problem, and Rumi carries that definition like a second skin until it chokes her. And here's where we get deep, because Celine isn't just Rumi's foster mother, she's also the living embodiment of Korea's cultural pressure to perfect, conform, and erase flaws until what's left is polished, palatable, and performance-ready. She's a former idol, an image manager. She knows the cost of being different in a world that demands sameness. And so, when she sees Rumi's demon marks, she doesn't think magic, she thinks scandal. This is where cultural context hits hard. In Korean society, concepts like nunchi, the social sixth sense of knowing how to behave in public, are survival mechanisms. You keep your head down, you don't make waves, you definitely don't show your demonic shoulder tattoos on national TV. So what does Celine teach Rumi? Cover up, smile, slay demons, and for God's sake, don't let anyone see what you really are. At first glance, Celine is classic retired badass turned stern mentor. She's got the boots, the gravitas, the tragic backstory, check, check, check. But underneath that archetype is something way messier. She's walking the path of the flawed protector. Think Obi-Wan raising Anakin or Brienne training Podrick, but with a twist. Because the enemy isn't just external, it's in the bloodline. And that complicates everything. Here's where it clicked for me. There's this concept in psychology called toxic introjection. It's when someone teaches you directly or indirectly that a part of you is wrong. So you try to cut it out of yourself. You suppress it. You perform normalcy. But the wound festers. And that's exactly what Celine does to Rumi. She doesn't scream or punish. She teaches shame through silence, through avoidance, through that one moment. God, that moment where Rumi's demon form is revealed and Celine can't even touch her. That's not just fear, that's failure. And yet, Celine isn't a monster. She's a human who was taught that demons are monsters. She fought them, watched them kill her best friend, and then was handed her best friend's half-demon baby and told, raise her. What do you even do with that? Everyone says Celine is just a tragic mentor figure, But I think the common reading misses something huge. Celine's not just reacting to Rumi's demon side, she's trying to erase her own failure. She's intergenerational trauma with a K-pop beat. Think about it. She couldn't save Rumi's mom, she couldn't stop the demons, she couldn't prevent the legacy, so she tries to overcorrect, to fix Rumi, to seal the Hanmoon, to end the war. But what if the war isn't out there? What if it's in here? That's not just a narrative beat, that's a generational wound. Notice how Celine's visual design reflects this tension. She wears black, white, and silver, colors of discipline, purity, and absence. She's sleek, controlled, airbrushed. And then there's Rumi with glowing demon marks and untamed hair, chaos incarnate. Celine's design whispers containment, Rumi's screams eruption. It's visual storytelling that tells you everything. This is a woman trying to impose order on a daughter born of disorder. But here's where the archetypal lens blows it wide open. Celine is the archetypal gatekeeper, the threshold guardian. In myth, this is the figure who tests the hero, not out of malice, but necessity. They say, "Are you ready to face what's next?" Celine does this, brutally, imperfectly, but undeniably. She's the adult who mistakes protection for possession. And when Rumi breaks through, when she rejects the shame and claims her power, that's not just a climax, it's a liberation from Celine's legacy, from societal shame, from false definitions. And maybe, just maybe, from the belief that love has to mean erasure. Now, let's talk moral complexity. Is Celine a villain? No. But is she right? Also no. She loves Rumi, but only the version of her that fits the mold. She protects, but at the cost of acceptance. She trains, but never nurtures. She promises to raise the girl, but not the demon. And that division, that fracture, that's the real demon. Real talk. If you've ever had a parent, teacher, or mentor who loved you conditionally, if you've ever been told to shrink yourself to fit someone else's comfort zone, you've lived this story. That's why it hits so hard. Celine's not just Rumi's mother. She's the voice in your head that says, don't show that part of yourself. And Rumi's journey is the long, painful, glorious process of saying, actually, I will. So where does that leave us? Celine disappears from the final act. We don't get a redemption arc. We don't get a tearful apology. We get silence, absence, consequence. And maybe that's the point. Some mentors teach through wisdom, others through contradiction. Celine teaches Rumi who not to become. And that's a gift too, albeit a jagged, blood-stained one. So here's my question for you. Can love that suppresses still be called love? Can protection that erases identity still be called care? And maybe more importantly, how do we forgive the people who taught us to hide? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I know this one's gonna get deep. And if you want more essays on complex mentors, misunderstood villains, and characters who break our hearts in beautiful ways, hit that like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. Until next time, remember, sometimes the people who raise us aren't our villains or our heroes. They're our first mirror. And sometimes we have to break that mirror to see ourselves clearly. Stay sharp, stay soft, stay sacred.